Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 1007, directed by Katsumi Tokoro and supervised by Kenji Yokoyama. While obviously it doesn't look groundbreaking, 1007 looks fairly solid all in all when looking at the preview, harboring the nostalgic yet modern art of veteran Kenji Yokoyama that will certainly carry the episode more than anything, even if Tokoro's so far moderate looking board manages to impress with what we haven't seen so far. There's not much reason to really dwell on it all, as we can just jump in and see if we'll really be surprised or met with what we expected. So will episode 1007 be the standard Tokoro and Yokoyama fare? Let's start a game of tag and find out. This episode covers the remaining 8.5 pages of chapter 994, and as you'd imagine, it's a bit on the rougher side pacing-wise because of that, making it so the Ice Oni stuff takes up the entirety of the episode's A part and even takes the liberty to add more chaos to it by having Queen shoot some more, and adding flashbacks to the Yamato stuff in the B part of the episode that feels appropriate but not for nearly as long as it went on for. Sure, like I said last time, it does allow the amount of stuff that goes on at once within the Ice Oni storyline to breathe, and that's great, but I won't lie and say that I'm glad that the episode didn't cover more content, because the Ice Oni stuff isn't the most engaging stuff in the world, and only really allows you to do so much with it. I understand, of course, like I expected, that this is a more conservative episode, so the pacing and general quality is not going to be as up to snuff, but when the episode does hit its strides, it's not totally dreadful to watch, which makes the moments where the pacing slugs or when certain bits like Yamato's attack don't feel as powerful as they did in the manga all the more painful. I am glad that they added more of the Scabbers fighting with Kaido, because for a bit there the manga sort of checks out with that storyline, but it doesn't really help Tokoro's meh offering here, which carries on over to the board. With a board that sticks so close to the manga, it's no question why the bigger moments of Tokoro's board stand out even when they're so few and far between, with the various but small different camera zooms and rotations being something that I can always appreciate because of how hard they are to pull off, especially with Oda's designs. And they make what is an overall standard board that just lifts stuff from Oda shine through slightly in what is an otherwise somewhat dull episode on the whole. When Kenji Yokoyama's corrections are what carry the episode more than anything, as expected, 1007 is conservative, and that's okay, but it could have ended up being better regardless. It makes sense that after coming off the heels of last week that we'd be in for another 997 from this duo, but I feel like this episode would have elevated itself just a tiny bit if the content covered was more plentiful and less restricting. I'm glad regardless that episodes like this exist so future ones can be made even better, but it wasn't something that I'll be raving about either. And we'll just have to wait and see how next week's episode 1008 does things following this all. With a board from Yutaka Nakashima and the episode's director Tasuku Shimaya, I'm expecting a fair bit from it, especially when their combo work in the past has been fairly solid as little as there is, and when the episode itself looks pretty good all in all. Even if it might end up being lighter on the animation as well, though hopefully less so than this week, I think we'll be in for a good time, fingers crossed. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and at least Ichikawa's always got my back in episodes like this with his Robin.